What are mind-reading technologies? As the name suggests, these are technologies that can read a user's mind, which is usually achieved through reading the neural activities in the user's body. The specific way a mind-reading device can read brain signals usually depends on which company is producing it. Most of the mind-reading devices that are being developed currently are there to help people who are missing limbs or patients who are paralyzed. One of the more famous applications of mind-reading technology would be the Hero Arm. This hand prosthetic can detect the electrical signals caused by the arm when flexing the muscles. But as of now, there's not much when it comes to current applications for mind-reading technology. All of the mind-reading technologies that are in the news or web are mostly still being made and tested. And some devices like Neuralink's N1 chips still need approval from the FDA to perform human clinical tests.
A positive aspect of mind-reading technology would be the use of prosthesis or prosthetics. These prosthetics can be attached to an amputee to act as a natural limb. The prosthetics would be connected to nerves in the ends of the muscles where the lost limb is and interprets a signal and moves according to how the brain wants it to move. Paralyzed individuals can also use prosthetics in their place of their disabled limbs. The use of mind-reading technology is not just limited to amputees or paralyzed individuals. It can be incorporated into daily use. Say if you are typing and your hands are full, you can use an extra limb to say like feed yourself this bar as this slide shows, or you can use your mind to change music into whatever you want without having to touch the screen. A negative aspect of mind-reading technology would be the use of brainwashing. As like certain individuals can use brainwashing to force like another individual to think in a way that they normally wouldn't. Some companies can even use this to force people into buying their own products or like monopolizing certain things just so they can profit themselves. Now, we haven't reached this level of technological development yet, but once the technology gets this far up into this level, there's the threat of a breach of private information. Malicious individuals like hackers can exploit this technology to pry into a person's brain and dig up private information that the person wouldn't want any other person to know. So that's kind of like a dangerous aspect of this technology. With the development of this technology, there would be a new need for therapists in that certain field. As if currently we only have therapists that aids people when to get accustomed to a lost limb. So if say technology develops to the point where it can act as if a normal limb, the amputees would need another therapist to help them get accustomed to the prosthetic. As the technology develops, there's going to be like a new demand for specialists in that field of technology. It would create new jobs and new opportunities for people that can specialize in that certain field. So like they can test the new prosthetics, they can develop the new prosthetics. So when it's being actively used by individuals, it won't fail or malfunction that can endanger lives. So they can make sure that the new prosthetic would be safe.
One of the more ambitious companies that are trying to expand the field of mind-reading technology would be Neuralink. Neuralink is co-founded by Elon Musk, and currently the company is trying to produce a mind-reading device that has chips that will be implanted inside our heads, if you so choose to use the product. The main goal of this device is to help understand and treat brain disorders. This is achieved through the device's brain-machine interface, which aims to help cure diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia. For how the device works, it uses a chip called the N1 sensor, which contains very thin electrode threads that will be attached to your brain. A patient can have up to 10 chips implanted in specific regions, And those chips will then connect wirelessly to a wearable device in the ear called the Link, which contains a Bluetooth device and a battery pack. Removing the Link will disable the chips, and this device is planned to be updatable just through using a smartphone app. For a more closer look on how it reads inputs from the brain, you have to first know that neurons inside our brains communicate by releasing neurotransmitters. And whenever a cell receives the right amount of neurotransmitter input, it will cause an action potential to fire, which produces an electrical field that can be read by the device's electrode threads. And just for reference, the electrode would be the copper-colored nail in the presented picture, and the electrodes will be the ones in charge of recording any information produced by a neuron. To help eliminate the chances of damaging any blood vessels or causing any trauma to the brain, Neuralink also built a surgical robot that can rapidly and precisely insert individual electrode threads. Those threads are smaller than the width of a hair, making it necessary for neurosurgeons to use the mentioned surgical robot. The surgical robot can also adjust to the brain's surface movement caused by the heartbeat and breathing of a patient.
MIT has been developing a mind-reading device called Alter Ego. This device is like having the entire internet in your head, allow user to have silent conversation with themselves in their head. For example, if you think to yourself, what time is it? The device will search up online and deliver the time back to you. The purpose of this invention is to make user have a personalized device. The designer says, with all the electronic devices out there in the world, none of them feel like it's built just for us, which is why he started thinking about this project. To make a device that we can interact with our mind and use the device as an extension of our own thoughts. Alter Ego is a wearable device from behind your ears to your jaw. It uses electrodes to pick up signals from your face movements triggered by internal verbalization. The signals then are translated through a machine learning system into words and sent as an instruction to the internal computing device so it can respond to you with an answer. Patents of this technology has been owned by many companies. Among them, Nielsen Research Company holds the most neurotechnology patents with 100 of them. Microsoft holds 89 software patents related with mental states. As for the IPOs, Elon Musk and Facebook, along with Microsoft and Nielsen Research Company, are the four most notable investors in this field. Copyrights and trademark for this technology is owned by the companies I have mentioned earlier, the Nielsen Research Company, Microsoft, and Facebook. Although smaller companies like NextMind, who won an award at CES 2020, also owns the trademark and copyrights to this technology as well. As for these trade secrets, we don't really know, that's why it's called secrets, but we can be certain that companies have rules applied to their employees, like they will ask you to keep secret of the technology and the research you've been doing. Company will also ask you to hand your laptop, mobile devices, and files back to them if you are fired or you decide to resign from your position. If employees decide to go against these rules, legal actions could be taken against them.